Welcome to Galaxy Brains, where that is not a long-delayed, ruinously expensive movie sequel about the bluest people you know. It's the bluest people you know, crying after DeAndre Swift yet again sprains his ankle this weekend. And too much to me.
It's a lot, and I think that the Avatar reference is just in time.
Yeah, just in time. It's weird that you can reference the highest grossing film of all time and no one has any idea what you're talking about.
Right.
Have always found strange.
Did anyone actually see that movie? We have to look into it.
We have to look into it. Did I also find strange that NFL players play fantasy? I'm actually kind of not sure how this is allowed. It came up twice this week where CeeDee Lamb, I believe, traded Jamar Chase for himself.
Yes.
Friend of the podcast, CeeDee Lamb. And then Nick Chubb was facing Jerry Hughes. Nick Chubb was facing Jerry Hughes last week, and Jerry Hughes rosters Nick Chubb on his fantasy team, but decided to bench him. So we can quibble about whether or not they should play, but if they're playing, you find this to be bad process, correct?
It's terrible process. Look, Jerry Hughes, a defensive end for Houston, longtime NFL player. You know, he's into fantasy. He drafts Nick Chubb. He says Nick Chubb has been a machine for me all season. He benches him in week 13 as the Browns played against the Texans. I say this is a bad process because if you're Jerry Hughes, you just keep Chubb in the lineup. You don't say anything. Please don't be public about it, but you keep him in the lineup. And if Nick Chubb pops off for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns against your league worst defense, so be it. You can still give maximum effort. It says nothing about your effort and your desire to stop Nick Chubb and win. If you can't do it, you can't do it. At least you benefit. So bad process all around from Jerry Hughes.
Yeah, it's just meant to be. If he ruins your life in real life, but saves your life in the only thing that matters, fantasy football. And yeah, the Browns run defense, they should consider stopping the run occasionally, Denny.
Yeah, I mean, Browns, Texas, they're both tremendously bad at stopping anyone running the football.
Browns, Texans, I mean, the Chargers have maybe literally the worst run defense of the 21st century. So Jerry Hughes, though, maybe if he should trade for running backs facing those teams that he is not facing. Maybe that's a way to solve his conundrum. Denny, I have no idea how to solve this next conundrum, which is putting yourself in the position where you may play Baker Mayfield. The Rams have claimed Baker Mayfield off waivers. You know, their season is circled to drain. They have no skill players left on offense whatsoever. It's why Cam Akers is suddenly getting 18 touches after being totally phased out of the offense. I believe you said to me before the podcast, haven't they been through enough? And I have no idea why they do this. The only thing I could think of, so you posed the question to me, why would they do this? I think it's just playing for pride to make the Lions draft pick worse, the pick that they're sending to the Lions, which is currently in the top 5. But don't they realize that by playing Baker Mayfield, they're only going to make the pick better? And this is, to me, I think it's a galaxy brain that's turned into a really, really big galaxy brain.
It's an all-encompassing, earth-shattering sort of galaxy brain move to sign Baker Mayfield. I would advise Sean McVay or really anyone within the Rams organization to look into the numbers as to how bad Baker Mayfield has been, because boy, oh boy, as fantasy analysts, we have been down that dark path, and we know for certain that Baker Mayfield is by far the worst starting quarterback in the NFL this season. And there is a huge gap between the next guy, whoever it is, Davis Mills, Zach Wilson. The Rams did not do this. They were so eager and seemingly happy to claim Baker Mayfield as this horrible season unfolds. I do think that it's a galaxy brain move that is not going to pay off. I'm going to be bold, and I'm going to say that.
The analytics were so bad for Baker Mayfield that Ben Baldwin's website just refused to load itself until he removed them from the spreadsheets. And if you don't know Ben Baldwin, computer cowboy, Google him. He's a very good guy. But Denny, I'm sure this won't appear horribly dated. If, say, on Thursday evening, Baker Mayfield, quote, goes off against the Raiders.
Goes off for 102 yards, 1 touchdown, and 3 interceptions.
It'll be a career high. So, Denny, speaking of bad quarterback play, Brock Purdy, he was the last pick of the draft. He's the new starter for the San Francisco 49ers. He's assumed to be bad, but it sounds like the other players in the 49ers locker room have a different take.
49ers offensive lineman Trent Williams said this week that Brock Purdy's leadership is that of Peyton Manning. It is comparable to Peyton Manning's leadership, folks. We have a Brock Purdy, Peyton Manning comparison, and Brock Purdy has never started a game. Mr. Irrelevant, last pick in the 2022 draft, I find that name, I find that term very mean spirited. I don't love it, but yeah. So we're already there. You know, you would have thought, I think, you know, he gets one start, maybe two starts, he does well. The Niners win, you know, QB wins stats, this and that. We can say, okay, well, we have Peyton, but no, Trent Williams jumped the gun. He said, no, he's already Peyton.
Yeah, Denny, I don't mean to be a boomer, but when I was growing up, you usually needed to do more than throw 2 touchdowns to running backs to get compared to Peyton Manning, which is quite literally all Brock Purdy has done.
I would say, you know, Brock Purdy, who checked down about 28 times against the Dolphins last week, does actually look a lot like Peyton Manning in his final year for the Broncos. So maybe that's what we're thinking here.
Denny, we do have a viewer question. Would you be, quote, triggered much when Kyle Shanahan immediately makes Brock Purdy the 13th best quarterback in the NFL?
I would be so triggered, I would need to be rushed to the hospital.
Yeah. I'm not at all triggered by every advanced metric that I love, claiming Jimmy Garoppolo is like the 7th best quarterback of the 21st century.
I would like it. As an advocate for analytics, I would like it if the bad quarterbacks didn't look so good analytically and looked way worse than the actual good quarterbacks. But we have to take it for what it is. And hey, if the numbers say that Jimmy G and Geno Smith are elite, then they're elite.
It's just the process, the dots, nothing else matters. Speaking of process, the Titans, they fired John Robinson, and you could argue it was justified. He's basically failed every trade he's ever made. He has only 2 first-round picks still on his roster. He's been the GM since 2016 in Tennessee, but it was not that cost him his job, Denny. It was one of the aforementioned bad trades, sending A.J. Brown to the Philadelphia Eagles, but it wasn't the trade in and of itself that got him fired. It was the actual revenge game for A.J. Brown. And the Titans ownership group needed to see this play out in the flesh, apparently, to be the final straw for John Robinson. So was this good process, good results, both? What say you?
Well, look, the Titans ownership, we know for sure, did not have access to the internet and could not have seen A.J. Brown's box scores for the Eagles over the past 12 weeks.
And as we know, Commanders owner Daniel Snyder literally does not have an email address. That might be an NFL-wide thing. In case you missed this in a House hearing, Daniel Snyder, this is a true fact, said he doesn't do email. And so maybe the Titans don't either.
Wow. Didn't know that. Now I'm reeling even more. But the Titans ownership had to actually see A.J. Brown roast their team in order to say, see you later to John Robinson, the former GM. My question is, would Treylon Burks have saved John Robinson's job if he had simply stayed on the field? He took a vicious, some would say very dirty hit to the head against the Eagles, caught a touchdown, was removed from the game, did not come back. Treylon Burks, theoretically the replacement for A.J. Brown. I feel like that's a little bit much, but if the replacement for A.J. Brown had stayed in the game and gone off, I believe John Robinson would have the job. The short-sightedness here is incredibly galaxy brain, and we have to respect that.
We do. 5 catches for 72 yards and the, quote, tutter, which is now actually what the NFL says touchdowns are to be called in the official rule book. They're called tutters. That would have been enough to save John Robinson's job. But yeah, he took the hit. He got the concussion. It wasn't enough. I think we do have to respect the galaxy brain process.
Yeah. I mean, to have to see A.J. Brown do it in person rather than just, I don't know, turn on the TV on any given Sunday and see him make big plays is just tremendous process. We talked about process earlier. That's the process. You have to see it happen in person, and then you can start firing people.
Yeah, we also have to respect the process of my children infecting me with 9 straight viruses and leaving me with 0 energy whatsoever.
You are going to be healthy as a horse when this virus leaves you in 6 months.
Yes, don't make me laugh. Denny will not make me laugh because I never laugh. That's just not something strong-willed people do. Mm-hmm. But we'll be back next week to try to make you laugh because it's the only thing Denny and I have. So for Denny, I'm Pat. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back for more brain expansion next week.